Welcome everyone to day 40 of the second session of the 21-day course. My name is Mark and I'm in northern New Jersey, and this is a reminder that in our first meditation we'll also be doing a foot soak. So here's a chance, if you haven't got it ready yet, to get your basin, rinse water, and towel, and a bit of salt to put in the water as well. If you're new to this course, no problem. We have a website, which you'll see the link in the chat and also in one of our slides, and that'll give you all the support information you need. All the episodes are recorded, so you can review them and catch up on ones that you've missed. And if you need any kind of question answered at any time, starting right now, you can send a chat message to Breakout Room Help in the Zoom chat. And then if there's something going on in here, some explanation, some technique that is quite bewildering, maybe it is your first or second time you're joining our course, then there'll be an experienced Sahaja Yoga teacher who can give you a bit of the basics and help you out with some of the terms we use. Also, we have additional support available. We have one-on-one mentoring. So that's where you meet up with somebody who is an experienced teacher of Sahaja Yoga, and they can work with you. If you already have one mentor, maybe you'd like to have a second, no problem. On Tuesday, we looked at the sixth chakra of our seven main chakras, the Agya chakra. That's the one here. And today we're going to put our attention on the seventh chakra, the one here at the top of the head, which we call the 1,000-petal lotus. This is our full program. So there'll be a short introduction to our topic of Sahasrara. There'll be a guided meditation, a foot soak, then a video of Shri Mataji, also a music presentation, a second guided meditation, and then there'll be some questions and answers that we will do with the hosts of the program. So I'd like to welcome Shivani, our second presenter.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Shivani. Uh, where are you, and what's some good news from where you are at?
I am originally from Australia, but I've been living in Vancouver for the last probably 9 months now. And some good news. The weather's getting better here. So we've finally got some sunshine, which has been really, really great. But I'm excited for our session today, day 40.
Excellent. Yeah, we've had a cold snap in New Jersey with temperatures very close to 0 Celsius. Uh, Water freezing overnight that's outside.
Oh
So
my
looking
gosh.
forward to having you guide us in our second meditation and also in our questions and answers at the end. So now let's get into our first meditation. Today we're talking about an essential quality of Sahaja Yoga, which is establishing the silence. So we want to get to that silence and we want to stay there and sustain it and make that more and more a part of our life. So to begin with, we're just going to do a simple meditation. We'll do a foot soak, and then we'll look a bit more closely at this topmost chakra, the Sahasrara chakra. So let's begin by putting our attention inside. If our attention is settled and quiet, we just enjoy that. If it's still kind of darting all over the place, we can put attention on our breathing just to bring it into the present moment. Then we want to bring the attention up from the Kundalini, this nourishing, mothering energy at the base of our spine. Bring it up through all the chakras, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7. So let's do that together now. And again, anything that's happening now that is not clear to you, just ask for a breakout room in the chat and we will help you out right away. So let's together raise up this pure energy, the Kundalini. Second time, 2 knots above the head. And a third time, with attention on Kundalini, we bring it up with our attention and our desire, and we tie 3 knots. Now with the right hand towards the left hip, we make this sort of a horseshoe shape over the top of the head, down to the right hip and back, 7 times. See if the attention stays steady at the top of the head. Put attention in the palms of our hands and on the fingers of the hands. See how we feel. Okay, now we have our foot soaking bucket ready here, so let's put our feet into the foot soaking bucket. And as we balance and clear, blockages can be absorbed directly into the earth and water elements, which are the salt and the water. One of the qualities of Sahasrara is just watching everything very clearly. So sometimes we notice that, oh, my left hand is very heavy, or I'm feeling extra tired, extra sort of despondent, sort of lost my enthusiasm, and maybe feeling a little bit kind of being dragged back. So together, let's clear out all that heaviness from the past, from our left channel, by putting our left hand on our lap, and the right hand is pointing towards the earth, or in this case, towards the floor. So now is where we let go of the attention that might get stuck on things from the past and allow any of that heaviness to go into the Mother Earth. But whatever it is, the mysterious forces that hold us back, that keep pushing us to continue with old habits and old patterns of thinking, and we wonder, why am I doing that? It doesn't give me any joy. Whatever that source is, we now just allow it to go into the earth. We also have a right channel. So let's now balance out the right channel about what we're doing tomorrow, all our thoughts and actions that haven't yet happened. So let's rest our right hand on our lap with the palm up, bend our left arm at the elbow so the palm of the left hand is facing over our left shoulder. Let's, uh, let's let go of all the opinions, reactions, judgments, all the ideas, all the concepts, all the things that come into our attention as visual, maybe musical, maybe just one idea after another, giving us no rest, no peace. And this can generate a lot of heat on the right side, especially in the liver. So now we just want to vent all that heat, all that irritation into the sky. Just let go of all of that stuff that we're thinking and worrying about. What might happen? We just let go of it. And as your attention moves into the present, you start to notice the thoughts. And now we just watch them and see if they take a break. See if they say, okay, later. And we're just left in a state of silence. Now we can rest our two hands on our lap. See what we're feeling in our two hands. See if we're silent above the top of our head. Now we can rinse off our feet and dry them off and set the water aside. We'll empty it out later, but we'll stay here participating in the program and we can pour out the basin later. So where we want to end up in the meditation is here, the silence. And in this silence is where we discover pure understanding and pure knowledge. It's undisturbed by all our understandings and concepts that we already think we know. So when the attention rises up and establishes here, all the seven chakras are together and they're integrated at this point. So often we think that let's do this, and then we get an emotional feeling, oh, I don't know what will happen. And then our body might be jumping in another direction. And we think, well, gee, why wouldn't my intention match my idea? match with what I actually do. I want to be integrated. So then that's where we want to keep the attention here at Sahasrara. The other thing that happens when the attention settles here is that we can then see ourselves very clearly. We are free of all our ideas, illusions, all our identifications. Like, I am from this country. This is my background. This is the group I belong to. But at Sahasrara, we can see all of those things and we can then just watch them. We see ourselves in our totality, which means we also see what we need to improve. We see our good qualities, we hope, and things that we would like to change. But because we're at Sahasrara, we're at this height of just watching everything. And when the attention is here, we'll just put our hand here right now. And then bring the attention higher. And then see if we remain in the essential quality of this chakra, the complete silence. And in this silence, when we allow ourselves to stay there, we say, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while now. That's when we truly grow. We really evolve and become more of the self that we want to become. And all the things to be discovered in this amazing planet, this exquisite life, in all the relationships, there's so much that we just don't know about ourselves and about the world. So in that state of openness to discovery, that's all going to happen when we can keep our attention at Sahasrara. We use our hands as needed. So if the attention is drifting, going back into thoughts, place the right or left hand on top of the head. Guide the attention back. Then raise the hand up again. Now see if the attention is steady, sustained by our own desire to be in meditation, and believe it or not, sustained by all of us being there together. We support each other. So let's sit for 1 or 2 minutes in silence together at Sahasrara. Sometimes you can notice how the attention changes as you go into your second and third minute of meditation. See if you feel the expansion of the silence. We can open our eyes. And sometimes we can actually feel the difference in our meditation when we open our eyes and look at the photograph of Shri Mataji. Just put the hands out. See if you can feel. Now let's enjoy together an excerpt of a talk by Shri Mataji about being here at Sahasrara Chakra.
So we must learn to be one. If after Sahaja Yoga, after your realization, if you do not understand this message that we all have to be one single unit, one single body. If we cannot be, if we are identified with other things, then it's no way you have grown, you have not matured. Very important point on Sahasrara day one has to understand that all the 7 chakras have their pithas in the Sahasrara. All the 7 chakras. They are nicely settled down in the midriff of your brain. And they act through that area, wherever they are, on the chakras and work it out. Now, all these 7 chakras become one, I should say, or go into unison. Complete integration takes place in these centers. Because these are governed by these 7 main chakras, we can call them, you can call them by any name. And they govern all the other chakras. And because they are in unison, completely integrated, that's why all your chakras are integrated. The pithas, which are enlightened, I should say, by Kundalini, also blessed by the divine power, immediately become integrated. They say that like pearls in one string. It's even more than that. It's more than that. All these pithas within you get integrated in such a manner as if there is no difference in their manifestation. Supposing you have a chakra which is not all right, something wrong, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, the other chakras try to help this sick chakra and try to evolve a personality of a Sahaja in a way that he is integrated. Now, integration within yourself is very important. Unless until you are integrated within yourself, you cannot be integrated outside. And the within yourself, the integration is such a blessing of Sahaja Yoga that a person who gets this realization becomes a personality which is above the normal personality. It is not attached to all the negative forces, the destructive forces. It just gives up so many things which normally very difficult to give up. All these 7 chakras that we have within ourselves are then guided by these pithas in a union. Just the help that comes from this union helps all the chakras to get completely integrated. As it is, we are not integrated because our mind goes on one side, our body goes on another side, our heart goes on another side, our emotions are different. We do not know which is the right thing to do, what is the best thing to do. But after realization, in the light of the Spirit, you get the truth and you know what is to be done. For example, after self-realization, you can judge people on their vibrations. You don't have to use your brains for that, just on your vibrations. Immediately you know what's wrong with yourself and with others. So here it is a double correction. One is you see your own being, your own self, your self-knowledge comes to you. And secondly, you can also make out another person, what sort of a thing he is doing. If somebody is not Sahaj and claims to be Sahaj, you can easily find out that he is not Sahaj. His behavior is not Sahaj. So, best thing is for all of us is to get this integration absolutely working out within ourselves. We should not shun it, but we should accept that whatever defects we had, whatever wrong we have been doing, what wrong thinking we had, whatever destructive we had taken to, all this has to disappear. In the open Sahasrara, you are getting, or the divine is pouring its grace all the time. With that reception, with that, we should say, the nourishing of your Sahasrara, what happens is something really great. One thing happens that you get detached from yourself. You can see yourself. You can see your past. You can understand yourself that you have been doing so many wrong things and misunderstanding people. This sometimes takes you too far away from yourself. But once this light comes and the Sahasrara is nourished, in that light you see clearly what wrong you have been doing to yourself. Then as a person you can see your faults, but also you see the faults of your society where you live. I have seen immediately after people get their realization, they start telling me, Mother, I was a Christian, but see, this is Christianity. Somebody will say, Mother, I was very patriotic, but I see now what is patriotism is. Like everybody starts seeing its own background, its own styles in which he has lived, and just gets out of it. And once you are out of it, it's no more identified with you. And it's such a spontaneous happening. Only thing you have to learn to be spontaneous. And that's what I find that in search, people still, though they are out of uh, this illusion, this ocean of illusion, still sometimes their one leg is still there in the ocean and still they are pulling it out and pushing it back. That should not be. That is only because people don't meditate. Now, to say you must meditate, people think it's a kind of a ritual or maybe a kind of a style of sadhana. No. Meditation is for you to go deep down into yourself, to achieve all that your Sahasrara wants to give you, to achieve that height of detachment, of understanding, is only through meditation. So what happens in meditation is that your awareness crosses over Agya, goes above and is now stationed in the Sahasrara, in thoughtless awareness. Then the reality of Sahasrara, the beauty of Sahasrara starts pouring in your own character, in your own temperament. Unless and until you meditate. Not meditate just to get well or just to feel that I must meditate. But meditation is very important for all of you, that you develop your Sahasrara in such a manner that you imbibe the beauty of your Sahasrara. If you don't use your Sahasrara in this way, after some time you will find Sahasrara will close down, you will have no vibrations and you will have no understanding of yourself. So very, very important thing is to meditate. I can immediately make out a person who has been meditating and the one who has not been meditating. Because a person who does not meditate is still thinks that, oh, it's all right, I am doing this, I am doing that. Meditation is the only way you can enrich yourself with the beauty of reality. There's no other way. I cannot find any other way but meditation by which you rise into the realm of divinity. For example, I would say that myself, whatever I have done is this, that I have been able to find out a method how to give self-realization to masses. But that doesn't mean that if I give to masses, they are all Sahajogis. No. You must have seen whenever you have your programs, people get realization when I am there and they come to programs for a while and then they drop out. The reason is they have not meditated. If they had meditated, they would have known what is their quality, what are they.
Let's sit together in absorbing the vibrations from Shri Mataji's talk. And now we're going to listen to a performance of sitar performed by Leo Vertuni of Italy. And he's a young man. Both his parents practice Sahaja Yoga, and he practices Sahaja Yoga. He both plays and teaches sitar. So let's absorb the vibrations of his performance.
after listening to such beautiful music, we'll just keep our eyes closed and try to maintain that meditative state. If you catch yourself thinking, when a thought comes to your mind, just say, not that, or not now. If you find that it's hard for you to maintain your attention on your Sahasrara, or to maintain the thoughtless awareness, you can take your left hand and place it between your rib cage and your hip bone on the right hand side, just on where the liver is. The liver is the seat of the attention. So here we can ask, Mother Kundalini, please clear out my liver. Please cool down my liver. We can bring our left hand back onto our laps, facing upwards. And just with our right hand, we can start at the base of the spine, and we can raise our Kundalini slowly drawing the attention along the spine, through all the chakras, to the top of our head. We can press down on the Sahasrara. We can do this a couple more times. And we can stretch out our palms like this and place the center of our palm with our fingers stretched backwards. We can press the center of our palm down on the Sahasrara chakra. It's where you would have had a soft spot as a baby, a fontanelle. What we can do is here we can massage our scalp in a clockwise direction 7 times. We can lift our hand up a few inches and see if we can feel the cool vibrations emitting from the Sahasrara chakra. We can also feel it with our left hand. We can bring our hands back down onto our laps. And we can try to maintain thoughtless awareness for a couple more minutes. We can slowly open our eyes. And together we can raise our Kundalini and take a bandhan. So the same as the beginning of the session. We'll raise the Kundalini up 3 times, tying a knot at the top of our heads. And then we'll give ourselves a bandhan, creating an arc around ourselves 7 times. Okay, so hopefully everybody felt the cool above the top of their heads and also on their hands. It's a very peaceful feeling and it's very joyful. So I really hope that everybody got to experience that, or even a few seconds of that, hopefully. I would just like to briefly go over the pitas, so the chakras on the head. So we'll bring up the illustration of that. So like Shri Mataji mentioned in the speech, we've got the 7 chakras that are along our spinal cord, but also on the head, there is a representation of those chakras. So she mentioned that that's actually where the chakras are, and they're linked to the ones on along our spinal cord. So the Muladhara, it's not actually noted on this illustration, but I believe it's on the handouts that you will all receive. So the Muladhara is where the back and the left agya is. So the back, left agya, and the Muladhara all have this, they're at this point in the back of the head here. Then around that is the Swadhisthana. So around the Muladhara, the point of the Muladhara, the left agya and the back agya, is the Swadhisthana. Then the left nabi, kind of at this highest point, the apex of your crown here, towards the back. And the right nabi is kind of in the opposite spot towards the front of the head. Not quite at the hairline, but behind it. Yeah. Then the heart is just around that soft spot on the fontanelle spot where the Sahasrara is. It's just around it. So it's kind of the same spot, but just the tiniest bit on the outside of the Sahasrara. So in the description there, it says Sahasrara and in brackets the heart. So that's there. Then the Vishuddhi is right here where your hairline begins. Right in this spot here. The left agya, as we mentioned before, is at the same spot with the Muladhara. The right agya is in the front and on the right side of your, sorry, on the left side of your head. So what happens is the right channel comes up and it crosses across. So your right agya is on the left side of your head and also the front. Your left agya also crosses behind and to the right. So it's a little bit hard to tell on this side view, but your right agya is on the left side of your head and the left agya is on the right side of your head because those 2 channels cross over. Then the hamsa is seated right here, so right between your eyebrows. And this is the chakra of discretion. Okay, and then the Sahasrara again is right where the soft spot is on the top of your head. When you were a baby, you would have had a very obvious soft spot that you can almost see pulsating if you look at a baby's head. That's where the Sahasrara is. And so this point in the Sahasrara, when the Kundalini rises up, it pierces through that point. And it's also called the Brahmarandra. And the literal translation of that is Brahma means the creation or the universe or the all-pervading power of the divine or of God, as however you want to call it. You can see that this is actually handwritten out by Shri Mataji herself. It's a little bit of a faded scan of it, but it's basically the same thing that we just looked at. But here you can see that it's mentioned Brahmarendra. So Brahma means that Param Chaitanya, that all-pervading power. And Rendra means passage. So when the Kundalini rises and it pierces through your Sahasrara chakra, your Brahmarendra, that is now open to the divine energy or the Param Chaitanya to come through you and to nourish your chakras. So I also wanted to go through quickly how to massage or work on the chakras on your pitas, so on your head. So you can take either the center of your palm or the first couple of fingers, however is easiest for you. And you will just massage that spot on your head wherever you feel you might have an imbalance in a clockwise direction. So, for instance, um, you'll get this on your handout. It'll be a lot easier to tell like which chakra is where because it's all color coded and it should be a little bit simpler to follow. But for example, if you're feeling that your Vishuddhi chakra is a little bit blocked and you want to work on it via your pitas on your head, you can just put your fingers here and massage in a clockwise direction. You can do that just without anything, or if you feel like doing it with coconut oil or some sort of oil that is cooling, that would also be very nice. Shri Mataji suggested coconut oil because it is very cooling and has a lot of great properties. And the same way you can massage all the chakras on your pitas. So let's say you're massaging your left agya. Again, it would be in the clockwise direction. Your heart chakra or the Sahasrara chakra, it would be in a clockwise direction. This. The one chakra that people get stumped on sometimes is the back agya, because how is that clockwise? How, kind of gets a bit confusing. So if you just remember that it's always up on the right, down on the left, up on the right, across, down on the left, and across. So that way you can massage it in that same direction. If you're feeling a left agya catch or a Muladhara catch that you want to work on, you can massage that part of the head, that pita, in the clockwise direction. So yeah, hopefully that makes some sense and you can try that at home. Just like everything inside yoga, it's an experiment. You have to kind of live it and understand it through your own experience to really feel the benefits. So I hope that everybody tries that in their meditations. And with that, I think I'll pass it back to Mark.
Thank you, Shivani. So now we are moving to the part of the meeting where you get to hear us, the people who practice Sahaja Yoga on a daily basis and teach it. That will also talk about our own experiences and what we've learned. So before we get to that part of the program, we have a few announcements. So the second session of this 21-day course continues with day 41 on Sunday, in which we will put our attention on collectivity. And what on earth is that? So Shamaji said we are one in her talk today. So we are one as in we are a part of something bigger than ourselves. And so this is very much related to our relationships. So that will be on Sunday. So here is the summary of our course. The current second session will wrap up next Tuesday, April 15th, and it runs just like the third session will for 7 weeks, 3 times a week. There'll be a break from April 16th to May 7th, and then we'll start session 3, which we call Deepening the Silence. So that'll start on Thursday, May 8th. And it'll again be 21, which is 7 weeks of 3 classes a week. Now, even during our break, there will still be the evening foot soaks. So they run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same Zoom link, same time, 8:45 New York time. And through that break time of April 16th to May 7th, you can still join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the online foot soak. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, we have lots of resources and support for people who are learning about Sahaja Yoga. And you can ask for a mentor. There's a form that we put the link to in the Zoom chat. We also have a WhatsApp group, so there'll be a link to that also in the chat. And the link is also on our course webpage. Then all the lessons are recorded and they're available, and you can find the link to them on our course webpage. And there is a QR code to that page. And we have a handout for today that will give you some of the information that we've presented today, as well as a bit more of the description of the Sahasrara chakra, and also things you can say to help clear if you feel, say, more on the left palm or more on the right palm, or both palms, you feel some kind of a heat. So then those are the affirmations at the bottom of that handout. So now we are inviting our presenter and also a additional person who practices Sahaja Yoga, a good friend of mine from Hartford, Connecticut, Sangeeta. And now is a chance for us to talk a little bit about what it's like practicing Sahaja Yoga on a daily basis. We've been doing it for some time. What have we learned? What are we still working on? And it's also a chance for you to ask us questions. So you can write a question to us, that's to me, Mark. But also, if you don't want us to talk about it in the program, you can also send a text message to Chat Q&A and they'll text you back. You can also request breakout room help. You can say, I want to be in a room with a Sahaja Yoga teacher so that I can have my own mini lesson of Sahaja Yoga. So throughout the program, you can do that, and now you can also do that. So you have several ways that you can learn a bit more about Sahaja Yoga. So now we're going to hear from these good friends of mine and welcome Sangeeta.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Very good. Um, so I guess the first question I have here is for Shivani. How do we know our Sahasrara is open?
So that's actually a very straightforward answer from me, at least. The best way to know if your sesar is open is to check above the top of your head to see if you can feel that cool breeze. Sometimes you don't even need to put your hand up. You can just physically feel it coming out of the top of your head. But just to get that satisfaction of knowing for sure, if you check with both your hands, then you should feel a cool breeze that will indicate that you're in the sasra or you're in that state of thoughtless awareness. Another way is that, so when I was mentioning about the Brahmarendra, that passage that's connecting each of us to the Param Chaitanya, when the Kundalini pierces through the top of your head, you go into a state of thoughtless awareness. So the Kundalini only reaches here once you've sort of gone beyond your ego and your superego. And when you reach that state, getting to thoughtless awareness is effortless. It's almost, you can't take yourself out of it. So if you're finding that you're getting into thoughtless awareness very easily, then that's also another indication that your sasra is open. And yeah.
That's reassuring for people like me who sometimes don't feel the cool, but notice that I've stopped thinking. Uh, Being around situations and people that completely relax me and I'm completely calm and just enjoying, then I'll notice, wow, it's been a few hours and I haven't had a single thought. I'm completely in the moment. So now I know that is my Sahasrara is open. Um, Now, why is it called the thousand-petaled lotus? Because we had put that on our introductory slide to today's class. So in addition to the seven seats or pitas of the chakras that Shivani was talking about, there are actually in the brain 1,000 nerves, and they're also called thousand petals. So Sahasrara is actually derived from the Sanskrit name for thousand. And so that means there's an awful lot of things to connect here at this chakra, way beyond probably my capacity to comprehend that it is the thousand petal lotus. Each of the chakras are sometimes described as lotuses with 16 petals here, 12 petals here, 2 petals here, and now 1,000 here. Um, we all have, at least speaking personally, our good days and our not so great days. And I can tell that my attention wasn't always here. Um, how is your day different, Shivani, when your attention is at Sahasrara?
Um, I'm a lot calmer. I know for sure that when I'm in the Sahasrara, I just don't take things too seriously. My reactions are very minimal, or if any, really, which is great. It's a great feeling to be just going through your day and you get lots of little things happen. Something goes wrong, somebody says something that you might, if you're on a bad day, take it like harshly and feel bad about it. But often when I find that I'm in balance and my attention is on my sestra, um, I don't react as much. And it's really interesting to kind of take note of that, that when you're in balance, things just don't affect you. You're it's just very easy to go through your day without getting spun out and getting thrown either to the left side or to the right side. Um, yeah, uh, that's kind of one clear way I can tell.
Yeah, Sangeeta, what's your day like if your attention is somehow steady at Sahasrara?
So it's both ways. Sometimes it's you own when you are able to see yourself as not your, like, because when we start Sahaja Yoga, first thing we say is, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, and I'm the true spirit. That's we say, but we are not able to follow it because we still recognize ourselves as the name Sangeeta and as this body, and then we fall between our ego and superego, and we start recognizing ourselves that way. But when we are at Sahasrara, and then we know whatever is happening, let people think what they want to think. You be humble, you be innocent, and just respect your spirit so that you don't have to react. You don't have to answer them back or show your facial expressions, right? You are calm, witnessing, and you are able to know that this person is doing something because maybe that person is not in balance. You still feel compassion and you still give love. So the other person slowly will calm down whatever they are doing. So if we are at peace, the world slowly will become at peace. It's not easily done, it's difficult because we do go in this world every day, and maybe half a day we feel, oh yeah, and because we just meditated and throughout the day, and then suddenly you start falling into all those reactions. So that's when you realize, okay, just calm down again, just connect with your spirit. So other thing is attachments to your family. you are sometimes okay with whatever happens to you, but when it comes to your child or your husband, and then you suddenly they are into some problems, then you start worrying about things. So that's when again you need to know that things you cannot control, you have to be in balance and at Sahasrara and at peace and surrender and just witness. Then only you can help them. Because when you're not in balance, you cannot help the others. Like in we go in the flights and they say, hey, first take your own mask and then help your children, right? It's the same way. You be in balance and in witness, then you can help your child too, or anybody else.
Wow, you're answering another question which some people will have, which is, uh-oh, I'm not at Sahasrara. What do I do? And you're saying that you can just get there. You can get into a witnessing state. Um, Shivani, you notice you're not thoughtless. You're kind of dropped down a bit. Um, when you notice that, what do you do to get the attention back there?
So often for me, when I'm not there, it's usually because I'm thinking too much. So the first thing that I like to do is just question, where is my attention? What am I putting my attention on? And because the liver is the seat of the attention, and if you're just constantly, your mind is jumping from one thing to the next, I know, at least for myself, that that's my liver. And so I'll just put my hand on my liver or put an ice pack on and cool down my liver first if I'm really struggling with my attention. But otherwise, I raise my Kundalini like we did today, put my hand at the top of my head, and just massage the Sahasrara. And like I just explained earlier, with the pitas, you can massage all the chakras on your head, and that will help nourish any of the imbalances along your spine and your subtle system. And so for me, that's kind of those are the two main things that I will do to get myself to that state. Also, sometimes it's the ego and the superego that are kind of stopping my Kundalini from getting to that point. So I'll just clear out those two chakras using the normal techniques, the clockwise rotation of the hands around those two chakras. And that usually does it. I don't want to jinx it, but that usually helps me get there.
You know, what helps me is noticing. So my attention can be so distracted from myself that I'm not even noticing that I'm not at Sahasrara. I'm
Hmm.
reacting. I'm showing temper or irritation or
Hmm.
feeling very tired and lazy or something like that. But then the first step is somehow noticing. And then, okay, let's see if I can get here and sort of ask myself the questions like a puzzle, like, where is my attention? And am I thinking? And even that beginning of just reflection, of kind of being the teacher or the guru of myself, um, sometimes I'll get back into that settled place where it's quiet again and I can just look at things. Um,
Yeah,
Shrimanji
just
said in the
to,
talk, pardon?
sorry, yeah, just to add to your point of what you were saying, that like questioning, where's my attention? In doing that, you kind of reverse your attention on the thoughts and they kind of dissipate. It's a little bit hard to explain, but Mataji had explained to my dad when he was asking about how to get into that state of thoughtless awareness. She said that she gave him actually quite a complex explanation of it that sometimes can be a little bit too, people get a little bit too heady about it and then it becomes almost, too distracting. But the technique was you your attention is like a wave and the thoughts that you're thinking or that coming into your mind are another wave. And so with the act of placing your attention on those thoughts, it's like an equal and opposite wave, just like how noise canceling headphones work. And
Mm.
so when you reverse your attention onto your thoughts, or in other words that we use a lot in Sahaja Yoga, if you become a witness, then the thoughts automatically just dissipate. So I just wanted to add to what you were saying about just that acknowledgement of where's my attention? Am I thinking? That's basically pulling yourself out of your current thinking and just placing your attention back, and automatically they just start to dissipate. And it's a very interesting thing that if you try, it sounds counterintuitive because you think, oh, but like, wouldn't I be thinking about my thoughts then? But it's actually the attention. You're becoming a witness. And like Shri Mataji had mentioned a few sessions ago, that you want to be on a boat. You want to be calm, standing on a boat, and there's all the turbulence around you, all the thinking. You want to be able to just stand on that boat and be a witness and just be in balance. So that active, like you said, just asking, am I thinking right now? And acknowledging that you're not quite in that thoughtless awareness state helps you bring you back. Oh yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say something about what Shri had mentioned.
So Sangeeta, I'm stuck in my thoughts. I'm not having a good day because I'm so much in my thoughts. I call you up, Sangeeta, what can I do? How do I get above my thoughts again?
So sometimes a very simple technique I do is when I cannot do anything else, because whatever, we have so many techniques, but sometimes just simple breathing
Mm.
helps me a lot to cool down my thoughts. Because when I breathe in, we call it swas, so it just cooled down our central nervous system. So breathe in, hold, and breathe out. It really calms your mind down, and your thoughts start slowing down. And other than that, like what Shivani was saying, we have our agya and we have mantras of hum and sham, which we have learned in our past sessions. We can use them. But, or, if you can go out in the nature, it's the best healing for your agya. So go out, look at the sky, or just breathe in that fresh air. Look at the birds, or just go to the river or the ocean. All these have so much of calming and healing powers. They just relax you, connect with the nature.
There was a question in the chat, and I cannot answer it, but maybe you guys can answer it, or maybe it's something that requires a deeper meditation than I've achieved. Somebody is asking is, why are there those number of petals on each of the chakras? Why is it 2, 16, 12, etc.? Has anybody discovered an answer to that question?
It's a very good question because this is something that I haven't thought too much about, just because if you take it, like, let's look at it from this standpoint. The Sahasrara we know as the chakra with 1,000 petals. And the reason that it's 1,000 is because it's all of the combinations and permutations of all of the petals and all of the chakras throughout our subtle system. So we have the chakras on our fingers, on our feet, on our legs, along our spine, all over our head. And so that point of the Sahasrara, which the literal translation of Sahasrara means 1,000, is that converging point of all the channels, that the left, right, and center, and all the chakras, they converge at this spot here. And so we know that the chakras along our spine and everywhere in our body are basically the nerves that innervate that part of our body. So in that way, there are 1,000 petals on the Sahasrara, which all of these nerves, they're in our head. They basically control the whole body. They are all related to each chakra and each combination of nerves throughout our system. So the only explanation that I can give for that as a reason as to why those chakras have that many petals is because the petals symbolize the nerves that innervate that area within our body.
To
So
add
hopefully
to
that kind of clarifies a little bit.
Yeah, to add to it, I think if I'm not wrong, Shri Mataji once said these are the plexuses and the subplexuses of the nerve endings
Hmm.
in each of the chakras.
Yeah.
And through my own practical experience, I know that if I say something here 12 times, it clears this chakra. And if I repeat something here, like I am part and parcel of the whole, if I actually say it 16 times, it clears the chakra. So it's like, yeah, it works.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the experimentation side of things. Like everything that you do inside yoga, you have to come to it with that scientific mindset of like, okay, here's the hypothesis. If I say this 12 times, I'm going to feel better on that chakra. And then you just try it and you see how you feel before and how you feel after, and don't overthink it. I mean, of course, we want to know the reasons to why we do things, but at the end of the day, you want to feel the benefit of clearing out those chakras and getting to that state of thoughtless awareness.
Um, Shamaji really stresses the importance of meditating. You know, sit there, have the photograph, and think for 10 minutes, but nothing's happening. You're not meditating. Uh, you can be doing some motions of Sahaja Yoga, clearing, and you're thinking about something else. You're not meditating. So it's like sit down and see if you can stop thinking, see if you can meditate. And then here comes the fun part of being a human being. Sometimes there's a part of you, because we get a little bit disintegrated, says, I'm too tired. I'm too busy. So when that interference gets in the way of just sitting there and allowing your Kundalini to work and take you to Sahasrara, what do you do, Sangeeta?
It's more like, how you have to be strict to your child to do the right thing. Same way, when you are still flourishing, you are so used to your mundane other work. Your mind is always asking you to do those things. That's your ego. Let me do this first. I will do meditation later. Let me do this first. So you're not prioritizing because right now you're used to that way of life. So we have to really push ourselves that this time, or don't fix even a time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I have to do it. Like you just force your child to it. You have to force yourself like your own mother, that you have to do it. And that's how I train myself. I had to pause because another day I would not feel like doing foot soaks. And then I would not do it and I would sleep. And next day I would be feeling not very good. So then, when you can observe when you do it, when you don't do it, even if you feel lazy. So maybe change some habits, do it little earlier than later. So, but you have to mother yourself. That's what I would say.
Uh, Shivani, what do you do if there's a part of you going, but I don't want to?
Well, I just remind myself of the feeling of being in that meditative state and that it's so joyful. It's really just like joyful, peaceful, relaxed, feels incredible. So whenever I'm thinking, oh, I don't have the time, or, oh, I just remind myself of that feeling. And also, Mataji's mentioned quite a few times, and we all know after, 40 sessions, that what is meditation? When someone tells you, okay, you have to meditate every day, it's like, what is that? Like, is it just, sometimes we forget. But really what it is that state of thoughtless awareness, being able to get to that silence. And so if we know, if we have the tools, that Kundalini needs to rise past the ego and superego and all the other chakras and get to this point and pierce through the fontanelle bone. If we know that that's how it works and we can get to the thoughtless awareness through here, then it almost it's almost too simple. And Shamaji's really brought everything to us, and really packaged it in a very nice and very easily digestible way compared to the knowledge of the Kundalini is not old. I mean, it's not new. It's very old. It's in a lot of ancient scriptures, uh, all like paintings from every single culture depict the halo around the head, or the lotus flower on the head, or Ganga coming from the head of Lord Shiva. So this knowledge has been there for ages, but Mataji really has given it to us in such a simple way that there's like a little bit of appreciation that comes into it, that for thousands of years people have been trying so hard to get something that we can so easily do. Sometimes I just remind myself of that it's almost silly to be like, oh, 2 minutes is too long. I've got other stuff to do, because it's like people have been doing this for trying to find this for so long, that now we have all the techniques. And really, if let's say one day I'm not able to go into thoughtless awareness, I will just raise my Kundalini and just ask my Kundalini to come up and then surrender it. So just simply with the hand gesture, bringing the Kundalini up, and then just placing my hand on the top of my head and just surrendering it. Because, like Sangeeta mentioned, we have to be our own guru. We have to be strict with ourselves to get ourselves out of bed and to meditate in the morning, meditate in the evening, to do our foot soaks. But sometimes we just need to make it very simple for ourselves and just raise the Kundalini. Just need to raise the Kundalini. Even though we might have imbalances here and there, we just need to use whatever techniques that we have, the massages of the pujas on the head, giving a bandhan or clearing out the chakras, and then just surrender. Surrender that the Kundalini will come up, and just, even if it's for 30 seconds, each day you'll find that you can maintain that silence for a bit longer and for a bit longer, and then some days you might fall back again. But it's like it takes some practice, and it takes feeling it once, just feeling it once to be like, okay, that was amazing. I felt so peaceful and wonderful. I'm going to strive to get that every day. And so, as you know, as you mentioned before, as Mark mentioned before, some days we're kind of struggling, and some days it's easier. But even if you have a day where you just can't, like your thoughts are just running and you just can't go into thoughtless awareness, just raise your Kundalini and tie yourself in the bandhan, and then just surrender it, and it'll come. I know that my father, when he first started Sahaja Yoga and he came to his meditation classes, um, that he attended when he was like 20, he mentioned that he didn't feel it for a while. Like, it took him a long time to feel cool vibrations on his hands, and he thought he felt something, but he was clearing out his chakras. He was doing the treatments, and my grandmother asked him, like, what are they doing in this class? And he was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? And she's like, you're completely changed. Like, you're transformed. You're no longer angry. And and that was a huge moment for him, where he knew that he was on the right track into transforming himself, into to balancing himself and becoming a more wholesome personality. And so it took him some time. So if you're at this point and you're like it's the 40th session and you're not really sure still, don't worry about it. Just keep trying, keep surrendering to your Kundalini, and trying to get to that state of thoughtless awareness just through clearing out your chakras and doing foot soaks and doing the treatments that have been shared throughout the sessions. That kind of I kind of took the question somewhere else, but hopefully that kind of answered.
Yeah, it's a very holistic way to live, where there's things you do and things you don't do, and your desire, your attention, your intention. So I want to thank you both very much for joining us in this program today, and invite everybody to see how they're doing, to check in before they sleep tonight. Am I thinking or not? Get up in the morning and just sit for a minute or two. And of course, that's a trick I use, which is it ends up being much longer often, but let me just check in. Am I thinking? Am I in the present? So a pleasure to spend the program with two good friends, and To all the people watching, we invite you to come back for the Sunday program at 8:45. So thanks to everybody who's joined us today, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Sharon.
Bye. Thank you.